Hello guys and welcome back again. I'm here with another game of Wesnoth, and here we can see this is a fairly small map. This was another multiplayer game I played not too long ago, maybe a couple days ago. This was a game I played. I was playing as the Northerners, which is an Orcish greenskin faction. You can see I'm here in the north in the green as Cairn Builder, an Orcish crossbowman. And my opponent was this guy, Let's Weave a Book. He was playing as the Loyalists, which is a human faction, and he's in the blue. Now, for some odd reason, I saved this replay, and I can't exactly spectate myself. I'm technically spectating my opponent, but I can't actually see myself. So I can't see, like, where I can move or anything, and if I just go to the view, I only can view him. So it's a little bit odd. I'm not really sure why, but it doesn't really matter. I could just view the whole map anyways and see everybody's moves. But let's get started with this game. So we started in opposing sides. I started in the north, he started in the south, and we'll just kind of go through the game as it goes along. I did mention the leaders we chose because this will come into be relevant later, mostly because he chose this leader, the White Mage, and he actually uses his commander quite a lot as a aid on the battlefield, which I tend not to do that much, but we'll kind of see a little bit because it is very relevant for the outcome of this game. This game is actually quite a bit shorter than the last game I played. It was fairly difficult. I don't know. I mean, I'll just say that I didn't kill a single unit in this whole game, but that's not because I wasn't I was like, I don't know, I had a hard time killing them. I really just played a very positional game, and I really wasn't focused on killing his units really at all. And it's kind of funny because this whole game, he kills quite a few of my units. He kills a lot of them, but I end up winning the game. And you'll see kind of why. I think this is a good example of why positioning and your placement of pieces of units on this board is way more important than just killing units only. So you can see I play a very positional game. I don't kill any units. I kill literally one unit this whole game, and that's his commander. And I still win the game, obviously, because you kill the commander, you win. That's the only unit that really matters. He kills a bunch of my units, but again, they don't matter. And when you're playing as Northerners, your units are so cheap that they really are a little bit more expendable. But let's kind of see here. Let's see the first turn. So turn one, he recruits a little bit, and I recruit quite a bit more. Again, Northerner units are much cheaper, so you can recruit far more than otherwise other factions can. You can see my recruitment, I get 3 grunts. Grunts are a really cheap, effective unit. They're one of the strongest units in the game. Can I highlight over them? Like, it's very weird because I can't really highlight them that well. But they have a very strong attack. A 9x2 sword means 9 damage with 2 swings. It's a blade attack, only 1 attack, and no ranged weapon. But you know, for the fact that these guys are only 12 gold each, they're very cheap and they have a very powerful attack, which means they're very useful. I also got 2 Naga fighters. These guys are not as great as the Dunefolk Naga Dirk Blades because they only have 1 attack as well, but it is a 4x4 sword, so 4 attacks with this 4 attack sword, and so they're not too bad. They're also the only neutral unit you have as orcs, as Northerners, so they are pretty useful for controlling the water or again having a neutral unit. So I got 2 of these guys to help control the waterways because there's a lot of rivers on this map, and also got 2 trolls, small trolls here. Trolls are really good because they're quite strong. They have a 7x2 fist attack, impact attack, and they regenerate as well. Also, they're very strong on mountain tiles especially. They get a really huge defense buff on any kind of mountain tile, less so on like hill tiles or other tiles, and they really have terrible defense on normally high defense tiles like forts. So for example, a troll in a fort is going to have a really poor defense. He's not going to be very strong at defending. Let's actually go in there again. You can see his defense, the defense bonus for everything is terrible except for mountains and like hills. So basically hills, fungus, and mountains are the only things he's decently defended in. But trolls are still pretty good units to get, so I like to get them as well. And then again, orcs. So on most of this game, I really rely on my orcs. And another really useful unit, the Orcish Assassin, is a really key unit for Northerners. So really the Orc Grunts and the Orc Assassins are the main units I rely on this whole game. And you'll see why they end up winning me the game in the end. Let's continue here. Actually, let's take a look at his units as well. He had a pretty small recruitment. 2 cavalrymen which are, I think these are a good choice because he does know what my faction choice was. We both chose a faction. We didn't go random. So he knows I'm playing Northerners, and cavalrymen are good for covering a lot of ground. So these will let him capture a lot of villages very quickly. Spearmen are also quite good as well because they have the first strike ability. Their spear is pretty strong, and they have a range attack, which is good against Northerners who, for example, the grunts lack range. So I think this is a good choice of recruitment he chose here. But let's continue next turn. And you can see he captures a few forts at the start of the game, and so do I. I don't know if this was already owned by him at the beginning, because I own this little house at the start. I think he actually did own it, so maybe he made a mistake and didn't realize he already owned this. Let me actually go back. Can I go back quickly? Or I guess I can't, but it doesn't really matter. He takes a few houses. Where did his other horse go? Oh, here it is. Okay, so he captured this one, this one, this one, and this one. So he captured all of these, I think. At least 3 of them, so that's pretty good. And then he also moved his commander to this fort. Now, you can move your commander to any fort tile with a keep. So tiles like in these wooden forts with a camp tent, or these ones in these stone forts with a keep, you can move your commander to any of these tiles. As long as they have fort tiles around them, you can recruit units into these tiles. So I moved my guy to this one so I can recruit 4 at a time. But eventually I do move him closer to the front. I move him here. So we're kind of both on the same side as each other. We're both directly adjacent. I could also move him to this one so we're kind of across from each other, but I like to be right here so I can put the pressure, and I end up moving my commander here a little bit later. Let's continue on. So he's capturing a few villages right off the bat. He's got a pretty good start. He captures a lot of villages, though he doesn't recruit anything, did he? I capture a few more villages as well. Oh, he does recruit. He recruits 1 merman fighter and then 2 more spearmen. So again, I think this is good recruitment. You want to get some kind of aquatic units for this sort of map. Water is pretty important. There's a lot of sea areas, rivers. So getting some aquatic units is pretty good. And the merman fighters are pretty good units. 6 times 3 versus 4 times 4. Where's 4 times 4? These guys. Geez, I can't even hover over them. It sucks. But yeah, 4 times 4, I don't know which one I like better. I guess I like the 4 times 4 better. Even though 6 times 3 is a bigger attack, 4 times 4 just gives you more chances to strike. So I kind of like more attacks versus fewer bigger attacks. All right, let's continue to the next turn. Okay, you can see we're both getting each other in a good position, but actually I would say he has a much better strategic position than I do, especially the fact that he got someone in this fort immediately. Too bad it is a cavalryman. Cavalrymen don't really get a lot of defense in these kind of areas, so being in a fort like this, he doesn't really have that much defense, so it's not really great to have him guarding this, and I'm actually able to kick him out pretty easily. Over here, I was able to get my orc grunt into the fort immediately before he could get a spearman in. So that lets me to control this little area and prevent him from, controlling it himself, which would be really hard to dislodge. He does take this one in the south, but I take this one in the north. So pretty even in terms of strategic positioning. You can see he's pushing up with his commander here, which, to be honest, I mean, I don't know if I really like this. I'm really hesitant about moving my commander around because, again, your commander dies, you lose immediately. Like, you lose the game if your commander dies. So I'm a little bit hesitant to do that. I don't like doing it. I think he's doing it to help support them because it is a healer, to hopefully get an initial advantage by healing his units rather than necessarily recruiting more. But again, I'm a little bit wary about that. I don't really like this move here, and it does cost him later. It is useful because his commander is very powerful as a singular unit, and he does use it to good advantage throughout the game, but then it does cost him the game, the fact that he continuously has his commander out in the field rather than in a fort protected, and also recruiting constantly. I'm always recruiting. My commander never leaves a fort. He's always recruiting every single turn, and eventually that does give me a bit more advantage, even though he does better throughout the game a little bit than I do. All right, he moves this guy off to the side. I guess because he saw my trolls here, he's worried about getting beat up. Cavalrymen, you really have to keep moving. They don't really have good defense anywhere. You really need to use them as scouts. They're pretty cheap, so you can use them as scouts, or just like quick attackers. There, peak Wesnoth moment. How many hits went there? Not a single one of them hit each other. I got some good hits in on this cavalryman with my orc grunt. And you can see now he abandoned this position. Now I'm controlling this fort here. I'm totally controlling this fort line here. And I'm moving this guy through the hills and mountains. He has pretty good defense in the mountains and hills. All orcs have great defense on mountains and pretty decent defense on hills. So this kind of mountainous terrain in the middle is like my terrain. Versus for him, he's going to have much harder time fighting in the mountains and hills than I ever would. You can see he has a much weaker defense in the mountains and hills than I would. But let's continue on here and see how this goes. I actually see this moving on the side, and I get a little bit freaked out. So I do try to block this when I can. Here I have my first assassin coming out. Assassins are great because they have really high defense basically everywhere. They have pretty much consistently 60 defense in almost every tile. Let me actually take a look at this guy. I really like the Orcish Slayers, Orc Assassins. They have a dagger, which has a very high damage single strike. And they also have throwing knives, which have a poison effect. And marksman has always 60% chance to hit. So regardless of terrain, this will always be very easy to hit attack. And it gives a poison effect, which gives damage over time. Now, what I should say, they also have very high defense, almost every kind of terrain. Only a few types of terrain, like in the water, and some very difficult terrain, like frozen terrain and places like that, he has weak defense. But almost everywhere, he has at least 60 or 70 defense, especially flat terrain, 60 defense, which is the most common type of terrain. You can see this whole map is like flat. So he has really good defense basically everywhere. It makes him very useful. Let's continue on. I moved over here with my trolls in the hills. Again, positioning the trolls in fairly decent defense area and moving them forward. You can see he pulled his mage back, which is a good decision. He shouldn't have it up here. And he moved his spearman out anyways. Let's continue next turn. Alright, so he's moving back here, which is a good decision. He should move out of there. I am in a very strong position in this area. You can see here, I see this cavalryman moving. I'm worried about him coming around. I tried to move my Naga over here. Okay, he's trying to attack there. But he got this guy in a bad position. This is a bad position for this guy. He got surrounded. Now, I'm able to pull this orc out of this fort. I wanted to pull him out to heal him a little bit. I still have two orcs guarding this fort line. This map has a lot of forts, so it's really good for defensive positional play. A lot of flat open terrain, a lot of forts, a couple hills and mountains, which is not that ideal for orcs, but again, we still get good defense in forts anyways. It would be better if there was more hills and mountains, because then my trolls would be more effective, but they're okay anyways. Just so you can see on open ground, they kind of are a little bit bad, but they're not too bad. He basically pulled back all his units, which I don't really know why. I think it would have been better for him to consolidate in a few areas, especially since it's almost daytime. Daytime is when my units are weakest, his units are strongest. He's pulling all of them back really far. I think it would have been better to consolidate around the middle here, or at least around these fort lines somewhere where he can make a good defensive position, or even push these forts where I'm going to be weaker in the daytime. He could push his units forward and try to push me out of one of these fort lines. Maybe this one, or maybe on this side here where, you know, I'm not that strong. I think it'd be pretty easy for him to push and get a good defensive position. Basically, these two fort lines on either side are really important, because if you can't hold them, it's very hard to push beyond that, and very easy for me to push in. But you can see I'm pushing in very easily because I'm holding both lines. Meanwhile, he is only holding this middle spot here. Let's continue next turn. Alright, he pulls this cavalryman back, which is a really terrible move. I don't know why. He does attack my assassin, but I mean, the assassin's just there to poison people. Ooh, another big hit from this orc. This orc does go down though, and again, he uses his commander very effectively pulling him out to attack my orc. And he did summon already, so he was able to summon and then use his commander to attack, which is good. I'm able to poison this guy, though. Again, daytime, so his units are at their strongest. I would like to see him actually consolidate this middle. Looks like he kind of is. He's pulling all these units, but he's being very reactive. He's kind of reacting to my positioning. He's not really trying to position his units in any really useful way. You just see they're all out in the open here. His commander's out in the open. Like, I don't have anything to attack him really right now at this moment, but I could, you know, like, if he was in a little bit worse position, I can move this troll around, for example, and hit him. I mean, that would be a bad idea because the troll would be very easy to kill and kind of like do a little bit of damage and then what, you know? But still, you know, he's in a very open position. If I had a few more units around or even an assassin nearby, I could poison him, I could damage him very easily, and this is very dangerous, I think. I mean, he's kind of protected. He has some units around to guard him in all these areas, but still, you know, it's dangerous to keep pulling your commander out. You can see I'm moving forward a little bit using the mountains to defend and moving this guy forward as well. Throughout the game, I'm constantly pushing. This is one thing I find, like I said, he's not really keeping positions. He keeps abandoning them. He'll take defensive positions and abandon them. I'm always pushing. I'm always pushing in, pushing further behind. I don't even need to fight his units if I can keep pushing to the next spot. You know, I can push from here to here, and suddenly I'm behind his lines. And when I'm behind his lines, I can do whatever I want. I could annoy him. He has to come back to face me. If he wants to face me, he has to pull back, basically, which is good for me, bad for him. Doesn't matter if this guy dies, he's pulling units back. That's only good for me. Let's continue to the next turn. Again, using his commander to attack, which is not bad, but I don't know. Like, it is worthwhile because he does kill this unit, which is good. And his mage is fully protected. I have no way to attack him there, so it's fine. My main issue is that now this mage is not recruiting. I would prefer his mage recruit every turn, basically, because, you know, the more units you have on the front, the more useful they're going to be. You can see I pull back this wounded assassin. I like bring him back to a village to heal. I bring forward another assassin to poison this guy, and then a Naga to defend this fort. Now, because these forts are all flooded, Nagas can very easily defend them just as easily as in the flooded areas. So bringing them to a flooded fort is totally fine. All these castles are ruined, flooded castles, so they're fine to use in both positions. I move this orc back to this fort to, again, defend the sea lane. I'm kind of worried about this guy going up. You could see I have a lot of units on the right side of the map, but basically nothing on the left side. He's focusing a lot on the left side as well, but for me, I really have nothing over here. So if he was a little bit tricky, he could send some units up on this side, and I really have no response to it. And you can see that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that exactly on this side. I'm sending this orc basically way behind his lines, all the way back here. And now I have basically free reign to pop any of these villages. I can pop this village, he has no response. I can move behind and pop another village. You know, like I have totally this whole area open. He's got to send guys back here to deal with me. Another orc, I move forward as well. I can pop this village. I can take this one. He has to react to me. I'm being very proactive. He's being very reactive. So that's a problem. You don't want to be reactive in a game like this. You need to be pushing. If someone's pushing you, you got to push them. So if I was him, I would take the spearman here and I would move him forward. I would send him out of here into this fort. I would take this fort line if I could. Maybe like back here and then take these villages in the back here. So I would move one of these guys out because this fort, I couldn't grab it. Actually, I could grab it, I think. Could I? I don't know. Either way, I would try to move somebody to the north. I do have this area fairly blocked. Really, I think only this spearman could easily move out. This one's a little bit blocked. This guy can move very far north and then harass me pretty easily. But I think if he did that, I could also bring these orcs over to attack. I don't know. But I would try to push in the back if I could. Send somebody in the back if I could. Another alternative could be these cavalrymen. He's using these cavalrymen just to attack, like frontline infantry. Cavalrymen should be looping around. They should be going around behind and attacking. So if I was him, I'd be trying to use this cavalry more as like scouts or harassing in the rear rather than attacking the front like this. Like having a cavalryman in the front line attacking is a bad idea. He's just going to die. He's not going to do anything useful. Let's continue next turn. Again, using his commander very effectively, using a mage very effectively, killing 2 units here, 2 Nagas. But again, he's not recruiting. He's not recruiting at all. Like, you should be in your fort recruiting something. Like, he's not losing any units, which is fine because I'm not killing any of his units. I haven't killed a single unit in this game, if you've been seeing. So he's not behind, you know? 1, 2, 3 units, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think, right? But the thing is, like, I'm in a way better position than him. And actually, I think I have more units. Because even though I'm losing units, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 units, I think, plus my commander. So 10 units versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're about equal. Wait, I have 11. Sorry, 11. I forgot about this troll. So I have a slight advantage in units, but I've lost units. I've lost a lot of units. He hasn't lost any, but he hasn't recruited any. He could be recruiting right now. He has tons of gold sitting here. I'm looking at his game right now. He has tons of gold. His income is getting less and less because I popped a few forts. I popped this fort. He came back to defend this one, but I popped this one. I'm going to go pop another one, basically. I have 2 orcs here as well defending this fort. Look at this. He has to bring all these guys back here. He's abandoned this whole right side. Now I can push these guys forward. He's got nothing defending this side anymore. He's got nothing defending this side. He's got all his units trying to deal with these kind of jokers in the middle who are just like trolling him. And again, his commander's out here like fighting. Great, he killed a Naga, but like he killed a Naga when he could be recruiting. I'm getting a unit advantage, not by killing his units, but because he's keeping his commander out here blasting these jokers rather than recruiting more units. But let's continue on. Next turn. This game's almost over, by the way. This is a very short game. Again, he's just wasting time with these guys. These guys are just harassing him. And look, they're going to kill one guy, but they took a lot of damage. These horsemen are just like doing, like, kind of wasting time, basically. These horsemen should be going around the rear and harassing everyone else. Again, I capture another fort. Poison this guy. I don't attack with this guy because he's too well defended. My attack is just not going to be able to hit that hard. But you can see I pop another fort. I pop another village down here just because he's not defending anything well. Finally, he came back and recruited. He did another round of recruitment, which is great. Like, finally, you know? But he's losing villages because he's got bad position. I pulled this guy out of the fort and into this village to heal. I pulled the guy who was in the village down to this fort to kind of like get again behind enemy lines. So this guy's well defended. Orcs defend really well in villages, so he can heal up in this village and be fairly well defended. I don't even care about this fort. This is just a way to harass him. Look how many units he's got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units after this one joker who just ran away. I have an assassin here, again, defending this little middle area. An assassin here, just harassing this guy. I took this village. This guy's ready to go do whatever or move around. And again, very bad position for him. I've pushed him totally out of both sides of the map. He's confined to this little area, and again, I've not killed any units. Yeah. Wesnoth experience right there. Ooh. Ooh, and he goes down. Oh. Again, good use of the mage, though. Mages are what you really want to be using when you have a really high defense unit, because mages can ignore defense. They'll ignore train defense. And, oh, bad move here. Very bad move. Oh, killed my assassin, but he poisoned himself, and he pulled his... Like, this is a very bad position. Look at this. Oh, my God. And this is, look what happens. This is like that meme with the girl on the couch. Very bad position. Poor little white mage here. Oof, oof. Oh boy. 1 HP here. So the white mage can cure his allies, but he can't cure himself. So again, like I said, poor little white mage. 1, 2, 3 orcs, orc assassin, and he's poisoned and he's on 1 HP. Like, bro, how can it get any worse? And also pulling your commander out during the nighttime, facing orcs, facing northerners who are chaotic. Like, bruh, that's a recipe for some bad news, bros. Like, he was lucky I didn't just kill him right then and there. Like, that was a bad position. Oh my god. He's surrounded right now. These guys are all gonna die. And the ways he can move out of here are really limited. And even worse than that, behind his lines, I have this troll and this orc. So these guys are both back here to come and harass him if he pulls back. This orc as well back here. Not much going on. I did make this rider. I don't think I mentioned why I made him. I saw this horseman coming up to the north and I wanted to cut him off. So I quickly made a rider to basically intervene if he takes one of my little villages. Like, finally he's using a horseman, a cavalryman, as it should be used to raid the enemy. And I made this guy to quickly respond, to like run out here and grab him and harass him. But again, making more grunts. Grunts are my bread and butter this whole game. They're so good, to be honest. But let's see, this is last turn. He's out of here, like poison. You can see even I sent a message close, because so close to dying right here. 1 HP. Let's go next turn. So he takes this village, that's fine, you know, not a big deal. Oh, bad position, very bad position. And moving this guy off the village is a bad idea. Poison this mage too. Now this guy can retreat, but there's not many places he can retreat to. And he retreats here. Like, bruh, why? Why, dude? Oh boy. And here we go. Game over. Sucks, dude. This guy just runs to the front, slashes him open. And again, nighttime as well. Trying to fight orcs at night. Not a good idea. Finally, like I said, finally he uses cavalrymen to loop around, but again, too little, too late. You should have used this earlier in the game. Pulling his commander out again and again. Oh my god. I know he wants to use the white mage to heal, but like, come on, guys. Like, it's not the time, not the place for that. And again, getting surrounded, getting a very bad positional game. There's orcs all the way up his ass. There's orcs everywhere in the mountains and the hills all around his rear. He should be consolidating and pushing me. He should be pushing on the side so I have to react to him. I don't know. This was a rough game. But, you know, pretty good game. I think this is a good example of how position and pushing on the enemy, always making them react to you, is good in this game. Like, positioning is so important. And this map is a very positional map because there's forts everywhere. You really want to make use of these hard points to defend as much as possible. You see, I played a very positional game. I defended these lines really, really well, I think. These two lines here are really important. I defended both of them really well. Definitely the left side I kind of abandoned eventually when I moved these guys forward, and that would have been the time for him to push there. But I think he got a little bit freaked out because I kept pushing behind his lines, and I was pushing him here. I was attacking him here constantly, sending a lot of units here. So I think he got a little bit paranoid because I had all these guys back here. He kept pulling units to go fight in like these random forts behind his lines instead of pushing me. So I think that was like, he got a little bit overwhelmed, and then he was using his mage to kind of heal and cure poison, which is again is like a waste of time. You know, he should just be recruiting. He should be recruiting more guys, and then pull the mage out to heal any nearby units. But don't waste your time going him to the front, especially in a super open position like that. Always be aware of defense of your commander, because if your commander is not totally surrounded and defended, he's gonna get picked off like this. But either way, that was just a very quick game, guys. Again, very sneaky orc game. And like I said, I don't think I killed a single unit this game. I didn't kill a single unit. Only one unit, the commander. And again, just all positioning, all maneuver. What do they call it? Bewegungskrieg. Not Blitzkrieg, Bewegungskrieg. Maneuver Warfare. I played a very Blitzkrieg, Bewegungskrieg game right now. So I'm sure Daddy Adolf would be very happy with me, or not Adolf. Who is the guy who claims he invented Blitzkrieg? Sorry, yeah, not Hitler, but Guderian. That's right. I remember Achtung Panzer. Heinz Guderian, Papa Guderian, yeah. So I played a very Achtung Orc kind of game. Either way, guys, that was just a very quick video. Another fun game. I like to do these kind of little Wesnoth games. I mean, it seems like a lot of people are interested in Wesnoth. I like Wesnoth a lot as well. And I like doing these kind of short little gameplay videos like this, especially just online skirmish matches. This is the kind of game I kind of prefer over long campaigns, mainly because I don't have that much time during the day. Getting in a quick game like this is much easier for me than playing like an hours-long campaign, recording that. And also because I usually do the commentary after the fact when I have time. Like, I played this game some time ago, I just saved a replay, and then I'm just doing commentary later. So, again, more Wesnoth, if you guys are interested. I love to do more, and also, of course, more games as well, other games I'll be covering in the future. Just see you guys again next time. So, goodbye, guys.